Brian is my best friend. And I was going to give a speech last night, but if you don't mind, I'd like to give it today, this morning. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. And when I thought about how exactly to give a speech, I thought about Brian, and I said, well, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Those of you that know Brian extremely well know that he has a few movies that mean very much to him. And within those movies, there are certain lines and quotes from these movies that he will repeat over and over and over and over again. He will laugh at them before he says them, and he will laugh as he says them, and then he will laugh at them about 5 minutes later when he's thinking about them. And the interesting thing is that I'm the exact same way. Brian and I are very similar. So when I thought about this speech, I thought about two movies in particular and two lines in particular, and I said, okay, I've got to make it relevant. How do I bring it and tie it all together? So work with me, and we'll see how it goes. Before I get started on the lines, there is a small poem that I wrote for this momentous occasion. I'd like to read it to you if I may. It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when his shorts are too tight in the seat. All right, I didn't write it. That was the first line. As many of you may know from one of the best movies of all time, Caddyshack. And that is a line, actually, Brian, just to prove to you that Brian loves that quote. He gave me that quote yesterday at our luncheon. And you know what's interesting about that line is that when you peel away the humor, it's actually quite profound. It is easy to grin when things are going great, when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat and you've got that hitch in your step. It's easy to smile. But when those clear skies turn dark and those clear waters, smooth waters become choppy, that's when you really truly can measure the character of someone. And I want to share with you a little bit about Brian's character and how I've seen it recently. As many of you know, my shorts have been too tight in the seat lately. Okay? Quite a bit tight. And it was Brian who, in the beginning, when my waters were extraordinarily choppy and those blue skies had turned gray, it was Brian that would send me messages at all hours of the night and day. And I'll never forget what those messages said. They didn't say, "You've got this, bro," which would have been great. It didn't say, "You're going to beat this." He took it a step further and he said, "I'm with you. We are going to beat this. We have got this." That is what true friends do when your waters get choppy. Is that they say, "No, I'm not going to let you sit on that boat alone. I'm going to be on that boat with you," which we've been before in our past. And we are going to do this. I'm with you. We are going to do it. We've got it. And I got to tell you, that is what true friends do. And in our case, that is what brothers do. And to explain what that means, I've got to take you back to the beginning. It was almost 28 years ago to the day, almost to the day that Brian and I met for the first time. You see, the powers that be, in their grand wisdom, had set Brian and I up as roommates freshman year in college. Fate. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how we met. They set us up as roommates freshman year. Brian had already been to the room. He was not there when I walked in. Actually, I walked in with Big Daddy. And I saw that my roommate had been there previously because I couldn't help but notice the luxurious luggage that he left in the corner of his room, see-through glass garbage bags. But notice inside of these very expensive glass see-through garbage bags, I couldn't help but notice the comforters and the sheets, and they had little ducks on them. And I looked at Big Daddy and I said, "Oh Lord, they've set me up with a 14-year-old scholarship winner from China." Well, soon after, Brian comes walking through the door, and I noticed immediately that he was not a scholarship winner, but he was 14. Brian looked so young, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And I remember it like it was yesterday, not because of the glad garbage bags, not because of the little duckies, but because that day and that moment, for the very first time in my life, I gained a brother. And I was staring into the eyes of my brother. And ever since that moment, you've been my brother. And I haven't loved you like a brother. I've never loved you like a brother, Brian. I've never loved you like a brother because you are my brother, and I love you as my brother. And there's a big difference. Now today and yesterday, this whole weekend has been such a memorable, such an awesome experience. But today, almost 28 years later, from the moment that I gave my brother, today, 28 years later, almost to the day, where's Jordan? Today, yesterday actually, I gained a sister. I thank you for marrying my brother. And I thank you for becoming my sister. And I promise you from this day forward, I will not love you like my sister. Because you are my sister, I will love you as my sister. And that's forever. I love you. Now, I said that there were 2 movies and 2 lines, so now I've got to get to the second one. The movie Shawshank Redemption. One of the best of all times. And let me set the scene for you. For those of you who've seen it, you'll know it well. For those of you who haven't, just bear with me. Andy Dufresne, at this point in the movie, he'd been wrongfully accused, and he'd been sent to Shawshank Penitentiary for life. And at this point in the movie, he'd been behind bars for over 20 years. And little do we know as the audience, and little does anybody else in the movie know except for Andy, that he's been planning his escape from Shawshank Redemption, or from Shawshank Penitentiary. And he's sitting on the card-hold ground with his best friend, played by Morgan Freeman, whose name was Red at the time. And Andy is talking to Red about his dreams of opening up a hotel in a little town in Mexico, right on the beach. The little town was Zihuatanejo, and he wanted to restore an old fishing boat and take his guests out fishing. And Red is sitting there saying, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you beating yourself up? You've got dreams of being in Mexico. You're stuck here in this penitentiary. This is your life. This is where you are. Don't think about your dreams." And Andy Dufresne says, "You know what? You're right. Here I am, stuck in here." And again, remember, he's wrongfully accused. I'm stuck in here, and my dreams are out there. Well, I guess it all comes down to this. And here's the line. Get busy living, or get busy dying. Wow. How profound. How profound. As I like to say it, live your best life now. Plan for the future. Don't lament on the past, but live. Live for today, because you'll never get it back. Live your best life now. Get busy living. I can't think of a better piece of advice. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have our champagne glasses, but if you could raise what you do have, I'd like to make a toast to Brian and Jordan. May your days as husband and wife from this moment forward be filled with love, compassion, patience, and understanding, fun, joy. Live your best lives now. Don't ever forget that. And if everyone would please repeat after me. Get busy living.
Get busy living.
To Jordan and Brian, we love you. We have a responsibility as your family and friends. We will be here to support you, to love you, to be there for you when your shorts get too tight in the seat. We'll be there for you. We'll be there for you when the waters get choppy. We'll be there for you when blue skies turn gray. It's only temporary. You'll get through it, and we'll get through it with you. We make that commitment because we love you. We will always remind you to live your best lives now and to get busy living.
Hear, hear.
Hear, hear. Ladies first. Love you, buddy. All right.